Just like before, I start with the sketch, but this time I make the sketch a little bit more detailed, making sure to define the planes of the face where I can. I'm not too worried about making the sketch look good because I'm just going to use this as a guideline for the colors later. I experiment with a side ribbon before settling for a ribbon-shaped hair clip on the top of the head. I also give the glasses a bit of Piltover flavor to make it fit in the world of Arcane a little bit better. When the sketch is done, it's time for flat colors. So this time I keep the various elements separated into different layers to keep things easy for myself. Again, I try not to overcomplicate the shading at this point, but I'm also starting to notice some patterns about this art style. There's a couple of places they tend to prefer to put these highlights and shadows. The highlight in the inner eye corner is probably one of the most distinctive things about it, and combining it with the hard-edged top and bottom eyelids gives it that unique arcane-like look. But also worth paying attention to is that the eye sockets, especially near the nose, have dark shadows, though they blend out softly as they move towards the edge of the face. And they form a hard edge with the keystone and the edge of the nose. The plane changes of the nose itself are also clearly visible, but are defined a little more subtly. On the other hand, the lips and eyebrows are very, very clearly defined. After doing a bit of simple shading for the hair and other accessories, here's how it looks, with just the flats. It's time to start painting. The first thing I do is start blending out some of the edges into softer ones, like the shadow near the eye socket, below the eyes, and under the lips. It's already not looking too shabby. I keep adjusting and tweaking as I go, making sure I have a lot of screenshots from the show on my reference board. Did I mention reference is important? I also start working on the glasses, making sure to find a good reference because I'm really bad at drawing glasses. Not to mention, the hardware and accessories also have a distinctive look in Arcane. They're actually quite chunky and have a lot of dimension. And this is important, they're also imperfect. They look organic and hand-drawn, which is great for me because I'm terrible at drawing circles. When I'm done with the glasses, it's time for the hair. I look through my references and decide to go with a messy hair texture, like powders. I spend a little bit of time refining the hair shape even more, making sure to give it the messy texture I want, and refine the silhouette a bit until I'm happy. When I'm done, I add a couple of darker occlusion shadows. And now it's finally time to give the hair some texture. I'm careful to keep the values of the textures pretty tight so that I don't mess up my shapes, and I add some small brush marks here and there to imply texture. When I get to the shadow portion of the hair, fortunately, I realize I could just scribble everywhere with a low opacity brush. Well, like I mentioned earlier, I'm pretty bad at color. So one thing I didn't notice at first is that the highlights tend to be a lot cooler or bluer than the rest of the face. So I quickly make some adjustments with the tone curve. I did the best I could, but I think I got too focused on trying to get the shapes and values right. First of all, notice that the eyelashes in Arcane are actually solid black, and they make a sort of 3D visor shape over the eye. I just have my eyelashes painted on like it's eyeliner. Another thing to note is that the irises and pupils are actually completely round. They're circles. This is so obvious that I can't believe I missed it. So I fixed this, and with a few more adjustments and final touches, this is what the final result looks like. What do you think?